Yo, what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Shamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and welcome to your astrology forecast for Tuesday, January 23rd of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day so far, no matter what time you're watching this video. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits for today so we can see how you are better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. And of course, I'm going to throw up that transit calendar for you guys today. Venus enters into Capricorn. That's the major aspect, the major transit of the day. Of course, we do have the moon at home in Cancer, and we'll be making oppositions to Mercury and Mars today, as well as beginning the day with a beautiful sextile over to Jupiter. Let's go ahead and look at the chart itself. All right, let's see. Share my screen. Come over here, move myself down there. All righty, guys. All right, so as you can see, Venus has freshly ingressed into the sign of Capricorn. So now we have all of the personal planets focused here in Capricorn. So Mercury, of course, out of shadow. Mars, of course, coming into the square with Chiron. And of course, we do have that moon over here at home in Cancer. So we're definitely wanting to feel good, feel positive, feel more comforted, if you will. Feeling like our home space is definitely a lot more comforting. Those are the things that we're going to be seeking out. Of course, though, we do have that moon that's going to make those oppositions. But first, let's talk about that Venus in Capricorn. Well, now this Venus is going to be dispositing over to this Saturn, right? Saturn, which is over here in Pisces. Venus, of which likes to be in Pisces. So there's a bit of a mutual reception here that's going to be starting to build up as Venus comes into the sextile with Saturn. Remember, Saturn rules Capricorn and Venus is exalted in Pisces. So this is going to be an interesting energy. This is, like I said, Venus is about how we receive things in our life. And now that it is moved into Capricorn, we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to receive our own, legacy? How we're going to receive, how do we receive our jobs? How do we receive our careers? How do we receive that energy? Are we open to the reception? Are we open to feedback? Are we open to, feedback from our peers, feedback from our bosses, feedback from just simply other people? What are we open to exploring here? Venus just got out of the exploration sign of Sagittarius. Now it's in Capricorn, getting ready to climb this mountain and getting ever so closer to Mars, of course. Now, Venus, of course, is moving faster than Mars and will eventually catch up to Mars, but not quite. The other thing to note today is that the moon is actually going to be out of bounds, as well as Mars. Mars is still out of bounds ever so slightly, but still out of bounds. So even though the moon is happy to be in Cancer, it just means simply that emotionally we may be a little bit out of bounds. We may be a little bit off, essentially. So emotions can be a little bit more exaggerated today, a little bit more hyperbolic, if you will, especially considering that it's going to make some of these oppositions. But, this Venus is definitely wanting to look more on the positive end of things when it comes to Capricorn energy. It's definitely wanting to be open to receiving sort of like maybe like a new direction in life, especially now that Mercury is out of shadow, and maybe it's not necessarily a whole new direction, but maybe it's a fresh approach to a current situation that we're wanting to be a little bit more open to today. I think also considering that this moon is making a nice sextile over to Jupiter and it's happening at 6 degrees, 6, which is the number of Venus. This is definitely about being open to, what is possible, what can we build, what can we expand upon in our lives, considering that Jupiter is exalted in Cancer and the moon is exalted in Taurus. So there's some mutual reception between this moon and Jupiter, opening up like what is possible, and I think obviously we want to feel good in life. We want to feel like we accomplish things. We want to feel like we have some sort of direction. I think the main challenge for a day like today is that we are being shown that really anything is possible and we can be really open to receiving that higher quality of living that we want to have. But it's still going to come with some work. It's still going to come with some effort on our part. It's not just going to manifest on its own. We actually have to do some work. Remember, Capricorn is doing the work, right? So This moon, of course, is going to make the opposition over to Mercury here. And you're going to see this happening at 12 degrees, actually. So we're going to see that happening at 12 degrees. I thought it was going to be 11 degrees, but it looks like it's actually going to be a 12-degree opposition. And then as soon as it does that, it's going to also make oppositions over to Mars. So, I think emotionally, and then we may be on a different page emotionally. Compared to what we're thinking of and the actions that we want to take. We may be on, maybe separate pages here. Maybe we're not quite all the way there. Now, what's interesting too is that we do get a cardinal T square as well towards the end of the day. This is happening with the moon and Chiron and Mars. So I think by the end of the day, you're probably going to be wanting to move towards something and actually direct some kind of energy here, because this is cardinal energy, so it's about directing the energy. And with the moon and Mars, which are two of the out of bounds planets, making that aspect over to Chiron, this is really about, do you have the courage to take that key and open the door to a new world, to a new self, to your higher self? Do you have the courage to open that door and realize that there are so many gifts that you can receive? You got to think about Venus loves gifts. Venus loves shiny things. Venus loves, to be adorned with, treasures and jewels and jewelry and all this sort of stuff. And being in Capricorn, definitely a little bit more of a focus on that. The universe is wanting to give us these gifts, these jewels, these presents, if you will. But like I said, it's going to be a bit of a challenge because we have to be willing to open up that door using this key. And maybe we're afraid to use this key. Maybe, this key is coming off the back of something that might have harmed us in the past or hurt us in the past. Maybe we accidentally broke our leg or something like that because of this, like esoteric wise, like metaphorically. Maybe we, pulled a hamstring, doing this. And maybe we're afraid to use this key again because we're afraid that we may hurt ourselves again. Maybe cause some sort of physical trauma to our body or something like that. I think this is, like I said, this is one of those days where it's like we are being once again shown that anything is possible, but it's going to require us to, you know, go within and trust in the process, and also realize that, yeah, things may have happened in the past, but the past is the past and it's time to move forward. We are in this present moment. The conjunction has happened between Pluto and the sun. The world has changed forever. And yeah, it may not necessarily look exactly the way that we thought it was going to look right afterwards. It's Pluto. Pluto is a slow moving planet. It's going to take 20 years for it to get through Aquarius. So this transformation isn't happening per se overnight. We felt like a good bulk of it, but the transformation isn't happening overnight. I think what's happening here is that maybe we can feel a little bit frustrated with this moon in Cancer after it makes these oppositions. Now, after it's done with the opposition to, the Mars, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, it'll square the nodes, but that's going to be like pretty much overnight. So coming into tomorrow and to Wednesday, you're probably going to feel a lot better, a little bit more clear and stuff like that. Today, just maybe a little bit more emotionally charged because of the opposition to Mars and the opposition to Mercury. Mercury is trying to figure things out and wants to have a game plan. Mars just simply wants to act without really thinking. It's ahead of Mercury, right? And Venus just got here, so Venus is wanting to, it wants to almost sort of reap the benefits of Mercury and Mars having already gone through this spot. It wants to just, get the benefits and kind of get carried up the mountain by Mars and Mercury. It's kind of like following its coattails, if you will. It's like Mercury and Mars have already made the path, and now Venus is just kind of coming through, just like la 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 la. And that's the thing about this, but we have to remember that we still have to do the work. We still have to put in the effort, and things aren't necessarily just going to fall into our lap. I think it's a positive day for just realizing that you do have the power of your actions, the power of your thoughts, the power of your heart, and the power of your emotions to, navigate this world, navigate this reality, and utilize your intuition. Cancer is all about intuition. It's a very magical science. It's also about healing. It's in the Decan ruled by Pluto today. So there's definitely going to be this deeper element. I think it's interesting that the moon makes the opposition to Mars and Mercury while it's in the Decan of Pluto. Pluto now, of course, which is in Aquarius. So there's this deeper wisdom that's needing to come up today. this almost like ancient future wisdom that is needing to kind of be embraced today for us to navigate this. Because, yeah, it may seem like a world that we have never seen before, but our higher self has already lived through this time. So there are lessons, there are keys to manifestation, there are gifts that our higher self has for us, there's knowledge that our higher self has for us, but we have to be open to receiving that knowledge. And that's the whole Venus going into Capricorn here, especially as it comes into a sextile with Saturn, which will create some mutual reception between it. Because, like I said, Venus exalts in Pisces, which means that it's really happy to be there. Its energy is accentuated, if you will. And Saturn, of course, rules Capricorn. So Tuesday, like I said, it may feel a little bit off at some times. At least the moon doesn't have to oppose Pluto this time. It's just opposing the personal planets, and you're gonna feel this energy for a little bit. It's a little bit more extended. Generally, you only feel the energy of the moon making an aspect for a couple of hours. This one is extended just because it hits Mercury and Mars, back to back. So it's a little bit more extended. And then, of course, you have Chiron there at 15 degrees where it's going to be squaring. So really, it's going to be coming towards the end of the day where you're going to start to see that energy kind of like wear off a little bit going into Tuesday. So I think, like I said, going into Wednesday, excuse me. So I think the beginning part of Tuesday, I think we're feeling a little more positive. We're feeling a little bit more jovial with that moon sextile over to Jupiter, which is going to be the boost that we need to get through the second half of the day when the moon opposes Mercury and it opposes Mars. Because if we get too wrapped up in our emotions and get too wrapped up in our mind and wanting things to look a certain way and getting upset that maybe we haven't manifested things that we wanted to manifest, maybe we don't have as much money as we wanted to, maybe we look at someone else, we might get jealous what someone else has, and we start to doubt our own ability to create and doubt our own ability to manifest because we get so down on ourselves looking at what everyone else has instead of realizing the beautiful gifts that we already have in our life right now. That's the whole moon sextiling Jupiter at the start of the day to remind you that, hey, you have some awesome, beautiful things in your corner. Utilize those. You have a winning hand. All right. You have those cards in your hand. You have a winning hand. Everybody has a winning hand. They just have to learn how to play their hand. If you spend so much time trying to play someone else's hand or play like someone else, you're always going to lose. But when you actually play to your own strengths, play to your own strengths and admit to your weaknesses. We all have weak points, right? We all have blind spots. But if you can admit to your weak points and your blind spots, and you can embrace your strengths, your unique strengths, then you will make it through and you'll see that you had nothing to worry about, right? So let's go ahead and get into the cards. Pretty short and sweet today for the astrology, but sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it just be like that. So let's go ahead and get into the cards, see what they have to say to add to this energy. All right. So I have the 10 of Cups. I love this. This is beautiful. This is an emotional fulfillment, but this is going to be an emotional fulfillment that comes from you. It's not going to come from anybody else. What's interesting about this is that it does show one person. It shows only one person. Normally this card shows like a family, and they're like sitting under a rainbow, and the cups are in the rainbow. But this is one person. Now they don't necessarily look the happiest per se, but at the same time, her cups are overflowing. So this means that the emotional fulfillment is going to come from within you. It's not going to come from anybody else. You have to learn how to fill up your own cup before you can fill up those around you, right? You got to put your mask on, like if you're like a plane, you got to put your mask on before you can help the person next to you. So this is just a reminder that your cup certainly overfloweth, but you have to fill up your own cup spiritually before you can go out and fill up the cup of other people and be that spiritual server and be of service to humanity, right? We have the bottom of the deck. Oh, beautiful. I love this. We have the Ace of Pentacles. So, yeah, there could be an initiation of some type of project today that can yield you some good money or at least just make you start to feel valuable again. But, yeah, this Ace of Pentacles is great. Some of you guys may come into a new job or new stream of income, but this is really just about recognizing your value and just embracing it and accepting it. That's really what this comes down to. So some of you guys are really going to start to see something, probably look at something that's been in your quarter this whole time, and be like, oh wow, I didn't even realize I had this awesome golden treasure here. I'm like, yep. It'd be like that. Sometimes we look, at what is in our corner, what's in our home, what's in our space, and then we don't even realize that we have some amazing things there. So like for me, I had already started writing a poetry book that I just recently rediscovered like a few days ago. Had no idea. And now I feel like I don't have to start from scratch because I do have like a creative project and I have a goal now this year, where I want to each quarter do something, like produce something creative wise. So this first quarter is going to be my second poetry book, and I already have 14 of the poems written for it. So that's cool. So I have until the end of February to get that, the end of March to actually get that done. So, sometimes maybe you even forgot about something that you have. Maybe you forgot about a treasure that you have or something that you bought, and then you realize that might be the missing link. That could be the missing link this entire time. And it was in your possession this entire time, and you forgot about it or you didn't realize it. And well, that's how life is sometimes, I have the card of synergy again. This card has come up again. I love it. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that results in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. Reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. I love that. I think it's beautiful. I think this is also about embracing and looking at old things in a new way, and not going about it the same way. This is not so obvious. This is off the beaten path. It's a little unorthodox. It's a little bit rebellious. The sun is in Aquarius right now. It's perfect time for this. Perfect time to be a little bit more unique in your approach, a little bit more rebellious in your approach, and to kind of be a little bit more off the wall. But this is going to give rise to your spiritual ingenuity, and you'll start to see that, wow, this is actually pretty fun. When you actually really get into it and you actually start to intentionally live, it starts to get pretty fun, pretty awesome. So not that it's without its challenges, but it starts to be like, wow, I'm actually having fun doing this. So that is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Tuesday. I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, peace out.